And here we go. Another day here in Houston for Texans training camp is officially in the books. Now, today was a very interesting practice. You got to see Cam Akers for the first time really in his Texans uniform because Joe Mixon has been out Saturday, Sunday, Monday. He's been missing some days here and there due to maybe an injury. I'm not really too sure why exactly he is out, but probably the main reason they went out and grabbed a Cam Akers could be for this reason specifically. Now, I do think I would go on a limb and say just getting a veteran day here and there because Joe Mixon didn't seem like he was injured. I would say he's okay, but again, if you guys hear anything different, please let me know. But in this video, we're going to break down all the news, the notes, the highlights, the observations from another day here in Houston for practice. Before we jump in the video, I want to do what we always do, right? And give a massive shout out to all of the Texans media members out there who work so hard each and every single day to get these highlights out for us, kind of enabling us to make this video, right? So you're going to see three names at the top left of your screen. If you go follow them on Twitter, they're going to keep you updated with all the news and notes and highlights from practice in live time. So go follow them. And once you follow them, you'll be able to find so many more who cover practice as well. With that being said, let's kind of dive into the video. Now, a couple of guys who missed practice today: Joe Mixon, Andrew Beck, Dalton Schultz, Laramie Tunsil, and also Christian Harris as well. So 4 offensive players and 1 linebacker were not at practice today. It seems like Tunsil had an off-season knee scope. He'll be out for a little bit longer. Christian Harris, soft issue leg injury. And then for the other guys, I'm not really too sure why they missed. But with that being said, let's kind of dive into practice. Now, the first thing that a lot of people noticed was the kickoff return, right? Now, it's very interesting. We talked the other day, if you haven't watched the first couple of breakdowns, we talked about guys who could potentially be kick returners. But they're also bringing a new strategy to it, right? With the new kickoff style, we're going to need to see if we can add some strategy to it. And that is exactly what the Texans are doing. On a pair of, kickoff returns, they had a bunch of pitches scheduled where a guy would get the ball, he'd run a certain way, and then someone would just trail him, getting a pitch, and then boom, leading to a big time return. Listen, there's going to be a lot of strategy implemented here for a bunch of different teams, and it looks like the Texans at least could be one of them to start. Now, in terms of guys activated off of practice, we got to see that early. D'Angelo Ross was activated. Deshaun Phillips was also activated today from the PUP after missing the first 3 days of practice, was here for day 4. And I believe Andrew Beck is now the only player on the PUP list at the moment. So that is definitely something to take account for. Now, let's get into some 7-on-7s, 11-on-11 team drills. Now, this is when things get so exciting. And remember, pads will come on soon. I believe in the next couple of days here, maybe this weekend, the pads will finally be on. But today, Davis Mills almost threw an interception to a rookie. Can anyone guess who it was? Okay, Kalen Bullock. Kalen Bullock did drop it. Most likely would have been a massive return. But, Bullock read Mills like a book, right? Jumped the route and just, boom. Should have had an easy pick. Did drop it, but again, that's why he plays defensive back. But also love to see the versatility of reading and reacting to a quarterback and knowing what they're going to do, where they're looking, right? So that is good. That is good news for Kalen Bullock. If he gets the interception, we're talking about him potentially breaking out, maybe, right? Now, another guy who looks insane during practice, and you guys probably would be able to guess this, but Will Anderson. Now, before we jump into what Will Anderson did today, do me a big time favor, guys. Hit the like button, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free. It doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering the Texans throughout the remainder of training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you can think of. We've got you guys covered, so join the family. Again, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and a bunch more Texans videos to come. Now, with that being said, let's kind of dive back into the video here. Will Anderson was dominating today during practice. And like we said, Laramie Tunsil out, Blake Fisher in. Yeah, that is, it's tough. It's tough. If you're a guy like Blake Fisher as a rookie coming in here trying to, make a name for himself, but you're also going against Danielle Hunter and also Will Anderson, it is really hard to, look great. But yeah, Will Anderson disrupted the play, causing havoc, getting right by Blake Fisher, and just making sure the quarterback doesn't feel safe. Kalen Bullock, like we said before, running a lot with the first team. That was a big, takeaway from practice was who are the starting players going to be for this defense? And I feel like DeMeco Ryans does such a good job getting the most out of their players. So I feel like Kalen Bullock early and often has already figured out a way to get onto the football field in some packages. But so far, Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie, Jimmy Ward, Kamari Lassiter, Desmond King, Kalen Bullock. I mean, these guys look deep right now. So I'm excited to see how the DB room continues to look going forward. And then I'm pretty sure that Jalen Petrie lined up in the nickel, which allowed Kalen Bullock to work as a starting safety alongside Jimmy Ward. So if you're asking, well, why would he be starting over a Jimmy Ward or a Jalen Petrie? He's not, right? Petrie just moved into the slot for a play, into the nickel, and then he moved to the deep safety play. But as that happened, Bullock dropped another easy pick that was coming from CJ Stroud. So again, got to work on the hands a little bit. Got to work on the hands. But again, the instincts of being a DB is there for Kalen Bullock. Another interesting player, Kamari Lassiter. Now, if you guys remember the first few videos we posted about the Texans, he was not getting beat up per se, but he was losing some reps versus Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and whatnot, right? And that's to be expected as a rookie DB going against one of the best in the NFL in Stephon Diggs and a really good one in Tank Dell. You're going to lose some matchups, right? But today seemed a little bit different. You can tell that he's kind of, dove into the playbook, right? Reading the plays. That way, once he gets onto the football field, he knows the telltale signs of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And Kamari Lassiter, during today's practice, did a really good job. He had a one-on-one with Stephon Diggs, trying to get him to the sidelines. And CJ Stroud, put it in a tight window. But, man, Kamari Lassiter made a really good play on the football. Just, again, Kamari Lassiter, another guy who looks like he could be a day one starter for this football team, right? We talked about the DBs being Derek Stingley, Desmond King, Kamari Lassiter, but now we have, Jalen Petrie moving to that nickel, and now you have Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, and Jalen Petrie, with your safeties being Jimmy Ward and Kalen Bullock. You're talking about 2 starting safeties for this team for next year, or 2 starting rookies, I should say, in the DB room. I mean, that is really impressive to have. And then you could talk about Danielle Hunter. And again, this video is going to be a lot on the defense here because they made some really big time plays. Danielle Hunter, just massive, right? Came down into or got right around the edge, disrupting once again, bullying Titus Howard, getting into the backfield for what would have been most likely a sack. What else do we see? Now, offensively, a couple of guys, look good. Obviously, they're giving a lot of work to Dameon Pierce being their starting running back, so he looked pretty good today. Got to see more of Cam Akers and Dare Ogbwale. That was interesting to see. I'm wondering what Cam Akers is going to do in terms of, will he make this roster? Will he make the 53? I guess it's going to come down to injuries, right? If someone gets injured, will they really need him? Maybe. Or if he looks really good, right? We'll see what happens. But you got to think that right now, Joe Mixon and Dare and Dameon Pierce are your top 3 backs. From there, it's Jawar Jordan, J.J. Taylor, Cam Akers, British Brooks. So, interested to see what happens there. The tight end room, Cade Stover looks like he could even be tight end 2 by the end of training camp. He's been making some big plays, but standing out more as a leader on and off the field as a rookie. So, that is definitely something to take note of. Still waiting for the offensive line to get completely healthy once Tunsil comes back, and then we'll be able to see them put up a fight once the pads come on. Noah Brown had a really strong catch today. He looks like he could be the wide receiver 4 for this team. With them having John Mechie and Ben Skoranek, Xavier Hudson, Robert Woods, I think Noah Brown has been the most consistent and already has that chemistry with CJ Stroud so far. So, again, Noah Brown, great day for him today. Stroud had an incomplete pass to Collins, a quick pass. CJ Stroud was, really frustrated. And you could see him really just wanting to make every play. And then, today ran that play again, right? And it worked to perfection. You could tell that he had some talk with Nico Collins, and they fixed it. They fixed it. Weren't going to make that same mistake again. And, you got to give CJ Stroud some credit. definitely knows how to improve and where to improve as well. Eric Murray is also rotated in with the first team as well. So again, I feel like nothing's really set in stone in terms of who the stars are going to be. A lot could happen. A lot could change. Jacob Phillips had a nice PBU in the flats against a running back. Aziz is a guy who's standing out the linebacker room. Him and Jacob Phillips have been doing really well so far, so don't be surprised if they, or not they, but if, he makes a major jump up with Jacob Phillips in the linebacker room. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next Texans update. Peace.